Hello everyone, how's it going? This is the moment you have all been waiting for. These are the official patch notes for Wild Rift 4.3. We've got so much to go through in this video with the new runes, the champion changes, new boots, items. There is so much to go through. I will leave timestamps in the description to each section of the video if you want to skip to any part just to know my opinions or know the changes for these patch notes, then please feel free to do that. Before we get into the changes, I will be doing a giveaway on this video as well to celebrate the release of patch 4.3, which in my opinion is probably the biggest patch ever for Wild Rift. All you have to do is like the video, subscribe to the channel, and just leave a comment down below. It can be any comment, but I'd love to know all your thoughts on the new changes and what you're looking forward to the most when 4.3 releases. We also have a new champion as well, new events, loads and loads of things to go through in this video. I'm really excited that we're getting ever so closer now to patch 4.3 because I'm going to be doing a lot of content on all the new runes and everything that's going to be coming out in patch 4.3. First up on this list is the new champion Nilah. Now Nilah is a melee ranged marksman down in the dual lane. I honestly think Nilah could maybe be played in, like, you know, the mid lane, maybe even the jungle. We'll definitely have to try that out to see if it's worth it, because that's the thing in Wild Rift, is that you have to try all these champions in the jungle because some champions can work in the jungle. That's the crazy thing about it. But yeah, Nilah, melee ranged marksman, will be a little bit difficult in the laning phase, but works a lot with, you know, the healing and the shielding effects because she amplifies them. She has some crazy amount of combos. She's very similar to Samira. If you like the way Samira plays, then you'll really like Nilah as well. But she'll be releasing on the 21st of July. I'm not too sure why it says Swain there. I think some of this says some stuff a little bit different, but yeah, this should be Nilah should be released on the 21st of July. We also have the wild pass. Now we do have two wild passes. So it says that Food Spirits Yumi will be available later on. It doesn't actually say the date, but first off we get the Dream Raider Thresh. Kind of excited that we're getting two wild passes because I think wild passes like insane value for money for what you get from the wild passes, because you get so much blue essence, so much poro coin, so much items, icons, skins, everything like that. There's so much that you can get with the wild pass. So now there being two wild passes in per like major patch, so between 4.3 and 4.4 there will be two wild passes, which is roughly like a few months. I think 4.4 is scheduled to come out in October, so we got a lot of exciting stuff there. But this will be available at midnight tonight UK time, so that will be July 18th. Rank Season 10 is also coming out today as well. Also, I should say tonight. There's a lot of stuff coming out. We got the new update with all the new runes, but we also have the new rank season, which I'm very surprised about. Normally what they do is they bring out these big patches and then they kind of delay the rank season a little bit, but they're just like, nope, you're just going to go into a rank season full on with this huge massive new patch, which is probably one of the biggest patches ever for Wild Rift. So if you're wondering what the builds are to go for the new champions and everything like that, make sure you check out my website Wild Rift Fire. It will get you one step ahead of the game and you'll be able to see all the best runes and all the best builds for every single champion, so you'll be able to carry your games early on in Rank Season 10. So very excited for Rank Season 10 to be starting. We obviously got the new Sovereign rank. We've got the new Legendary queue coming out, which would probably be like a two-week delay like it normally is. But really excited to finally grind ranked, because I haven't really grinded ranked for a long time. It's either been like, you know, get to Grandmaster or be happy. If I can get to Challenger, then okay. But now this season, I think it's going to be season I'm definitely going to be grinding, because I want to try and get that highest rank in the game. To make that an accomplishment, I think will be absolutely insane. I really feel like I can do it as well, because I still feel like I can be pretty good and I can carry quite a few games. New game modes as well. Dual Tag. This is the Soul Fighter game modes. We have been training and are ready to duke it out because Tag Duel is here. This is a 1v1 mode where the goal is for you to kill your opponent multiple times. With this new mode comes some new rules though. So you'll be able to select 3 champions and be able to swap with them during the game. So you can swap with them and whenever you want to. So you pick 3 champions at the start and you can always swap them. Swapping between champions will consume super meter charges. The super meter charges automatically and can be seen at the top of the screen. So you can't do it like swap 24/7. You can't swap all the time. It'll be a certain number of times, but the meter, I guess, will be, you know, charging up quite quickly. When the swap between when you swap between champions, all your cooldowns are refunded. So this is going to make for some really, really cool combos. If you do like Alistar and Yasuo, you do like a headbutt pulverize, swap into Yasuo, and then use Yasuo ultimate. I think that'd be really, really cool, to be fair. There'll probably be some really, really neat combos that you can play with this. All champions will auto buy and auto level up during the game. All champions share a single health bar. Once it's depleted, you'll lose a life, and all champions will respawn. That's kind of cool. Sorry, this mood, I'm guessing I'm supposed to say this mode. This mode will take place in a small arena with no minions, so you can focus on fighting. And of course, we have to add some proper theming to match Soul Fighter. So this is the Wild Pass again, and I think some of the wording is really wrong. But dual tag will be available 21st of July until the 7th of August. So that will be the same release date as the new champion Neela, which is no surprise because Neela has that Soul Fighter skin. So we're probably going to be seeing the Soul Fighter skins also coming out on the 21st of July. We have the Soul Fighter Bounty, which is the new gacha. Unfortunately, they're going back to the old gacha where you have to pay 400 wild cores and you have to try and get vouchers, which I hate this sort of gacha. I really like the previous gacha that they did with like random skin chests and everything like that, and being able to just open a certain amount to reach a reward. I don't really like these ones where you have to just get vouchers, because then these vouchers are not really that great. There is a cool thing though that I actually saw online, where you can actually get Soul Fighter Yasuo, for example, actually cheaper than what it is in the store. Because if you open 400 wild cores, if you get the 5 vouchers each time, so that's 1200, it's actually cheaper than the Soul Fighter skin itself, because I think this is a legendary, if I'm not mistaken. That's why it's 15. So this will probably be 1600 wild cores in the store. So all you have to do is spend 1600 wild cores, open 3 chests, and then you'll be able to get Soul Fighter Yasuo from it. So there is a way that you can get the items cheaper, and there also is a way that you can get like 100 vouchers and unlock a whole bunch of stuff at the same time. So even though I don't like this type of gacha, I like that they're making it so this gacha actually makes the skins cheaper, which I think is very, very cool. I think it's a cool incentive to, you know, try out gacha and give it a try. Obviously, I'll be getting the gacha because I'm going to be trying unlocking Soul Fighter Draven. There is a special edition version as well, which is a 0.5% chance that'll be a little bit difficult to get, which I don't think you can actually get in the store, right? No, you can't get in the store. So you have to get Soul Fighter Draven from just getting the chests. I wonder if there's like a certain number of chests you have to unlock to be able to get this. Not really too sure. We'll have to give it a try. As an ADC main, obviously we have to go for Draven if we want to. But yeah, all the skins are here. Soul Fighter Yasuo, Xin, Irelia, Draven, Neela. You got random skin chest here, which is pretty cool. So you can get random skin chest if you want to. Recall, emotes, bauble, icon, poses, special edition poses, borders, and Porycoin. So you got everything that you expect to see in a Gamba. And the event as well, which is going to be 21st of July, which is going to be the Soulfire event, which I think tells you more about Yasuo and Draven's journey. And also there's like a little bit of a storytelling as well. If I remember correctly from the video, there's like a storytelling section where you'll be able to see, you'll be able to unlock like rewards and things like that. So that's probably going to be the case. All right, on to champion changes. We saw a little bit of this in the first look. Some of this is pretty much the same. Ornn is still, you know, exactly the same with the passive. You're not getting as much additional health, armor, and magic resist anymore at all stages of the game. And also the brittle damage going down in the early game, but actually going up in the later stages of the game. Since Ornn's Forge has been, Ornn's forged his way into the rift, and his abilities have been too much for his foes to handle, so we're nerfing some of his stats to make this demigod less untouchable. So I'm not going to talk too much because I really talked about the first look with these changes. If you want to go look at the first look, I talk in a lot more detail with the first look with all these changes if you want to go and check that out. Soraka is actually going to be someone that I'm going to be talking about though, because as I mentioned in the first look, maybe it didn't include all the changes that were happening to Soraka, and that was the case. I was right, because Soraka is actually going to be getting the rework that we all thought that she was going to be getting. So the first ability is still the same, so the cooldown will be reduced when it hits an enemy. So this will still be the same. Cooldown is still getting increased on the second ability. But look at this now. We got a new effect, which is when healing allies, any overhealing will be transferred as a shield, which is crazy. I don't know if you can stack the shield multiple times. Like, imagine if you can just keep using your second ability over and over again, and it's just going to be a shield every single time. I don't know if it's going to be a cumulative or not. I doubt it. I think it's just going to be any health that goes over will just be a shield, and then you can't heal anymore because the shield is first. I'm guessing that's how it's going to work, but it'd be quite interesting if you can actually just stack the shield over and over again. They've removed it now, so when casting Soraka's second ability, you'll no longer sacrifice your own health, which is going to make Soraka very, very spammable support. She's going to be like Sona in a way, where you're just going to spam your abilities over and over again. So don't be surprised if people go like Archangel Staff, Staff of Flowing Water, and just get as much mana as possible, because that's what Soraka's going to turn into. Pretty much a heal bot with all her abilities. And then they also removed that the ally gains Rejuvenation from Soraka. So Rejuvenation, this is a bit of a nerf because Rejuvenation is the healing over time. So you're actually not going to get the healing over time anymore for your allies. You can still get it for yourself, but you can't get it for your allies. So this is actually, you'll be surprised, but this is actually a pretty big nerf because I think the healing over time actually helped out a lot of ADCs, especially during laning phase. This is a big thing, you know, with Soraka now not being able to sacrifice your own health and just being able to heal as much as possible. It's going to give her so much power. And I don't think the 1 second cooldown per rank is going to make a lot of difference, because this is the big part right here. This is the huge part about Soraka. So absolutely insane changes. Gameplay changes. This is the big one. Runes. I'm gonna take a quick sip of a drink before I actually talk through all of this, because there is a lot of runes to go through. A lot of runes. Let's first read the description though. So we've had a lot of feedback that you all want some more runes. So we redesigned the rune system to give you more options. We hope this new system gives you more room to explore runes and experiment your build paths on champions. And if you don't want to experiment or cook up your own rune paths, you can also choose to use the general guarantee and minimum runes that put at the first row at any time. So I guess it's just meaning just use the recommended runes if you want to, basically. So I guess they also have to change all the recommended runes, which is kind of crazy now. But yeah, this is, I think, by far the best change I think Wild Rift has ever done in the game. I think this new rune system, we have 20 new runes in total. I think 5 runes got removed. A whole new overhaul full of runes. You now have more options, more runes to choose from. It's absolutely insane. We're gonna go through all the runes, and remember, these are the official notes. So these are the official numbers and the official descriptions of every single rune. Sorry, excuse me. So Glacial Augment being the first one. Now this is a keystone rune. This is mainly used on support. So I think champions like Thresh, Nautilus, and also Janna are going to be using this rune a lot. So it auto attacks slow enemy champions by 20% for 1.5 seconds. For the same champion, the slow triggers once only every 10 seconds. Now immobilizing an enemy champion will trigger 3 glacial rays to emanate from them towards you and this enemy champion. That doesn't make sense. From them towards you and this enemy champion. Oh, I think that's supposed to say and the enemy champion. So it's like emanates from them towards you and the enemy champion. That kind of really doesn't make sense. Anyway, created icy zones that last for a few seconds. Enemies in icy zones are slowed, so it's 1% of your bonus health plus 20%, it seems like, or plus 20, and then a percentage is that. And their damage is reduced by 15% against your allies. The slowdown effect will last 1.5 seconds after leaving the icy zone. So again, the big part is the immobilizing part, where if you immobilize, say you land like a Thresh hook, a Nautilus hook, Janna tornado, anything like that, these 3 rays of icy zones will be able to just come out towards the towards enemy champions and towards you, which means that it's going to be a lot more difficult for enemy champions, not only when they're knocked up, but also after the crowd control, to actually try and escape. So it's going to be a lot more easier now for someone like Thresh, for example, to walk up, use your flay, trigger these icy rays, and then land a hook afterwards, because they're going to be slowed. So it's going to be really nice to, like, you know, land combos, land a lot of crowd control, and also reduce the damage. So yeah, the big part is that the damage is going to be reduced against any allies for 15%. So that is also really big. That's going to be lasting for 3 seconds. So this is really, really big as well. Being able to reduce the damage of reduce the damage of enemy champions towards your allies is going to be big. And also the slowdown effect will also last quite a long time afterwards. So it does have a 20-second cooldown, which is fairly long, but you can proc this multiple times during the laning phase. And obviously, this doesn't really give you any tank stacks. This is more for like outplaying potential. And I think it's going to be used a lot in high elo. So it's going to be very, very cool. Onto the second keystone, we have First Strike. So in 0.25 seconds of entering a battle against an enemy champion, damage caused on enemy will grant 5 gold, and First Strike effect lasting 3 seconds. So you basically just auto attack at the start or use an ability at start, and that will count towards, you know, entering combat. The First Strike effect make you deal bonus 9% true damage on enemy champions. After the effect, gold from the effect duration time will be granted. Sorry, 100% for melee attacks and 86% for remote attacks. I guess this means AP and AD. Again, some of the wording is very weird, but this does have a 20-second cooldown. So this is really big for champions that can combo and do a lot of damage in a short amount of time. Because not only are you going to be dealing with damage with the true damage, but you're also going to be getting a big influx of gold. So champions I think it's going to be really good on is champions like Jace, champions like assassins like Zed, Rengar. Also Corki can use this very, very well because you can trade very easily during the lane phase. Same with Jace as well, because you can jump in and jump out. You have your range and your melee form. This is going to give a lot of gold, like a crazy amount of gold. You have a little bit of damage as well, which is going to be pretty big. But a big thing is definitely going to be the amount of gold that you get as well, because it's going to give you, I think, a lot of gold, because the true damage, 9% bonus true damage is a lot. And like I said, champions like Jace that can, you know, enter combat by just auto attacking at range form and then jumping into melee form, being able to deal the extra damage and get that huge amount of gold is going to be absolutely insane for him. So I'm really excited for first try, really excited to try this out on some AD carries. This is in some really weird order, so I'll explain, you know, which tree these are from. This is Last Stand. This is a new rune. This is from the Precision tree. So you gain an extra 5 to 11% adaptive damage against enemy champions when health is lower than 60%. So when your health is lower than 60%, you gain 5 to 11% adaptive damage. Now, this is dependent on whether you're 60% or whether you're 30%. So the maximum bonus damage will be provided when health is lower than 30%. So when you're 30% HP, you gain 11% adaptive damage. If you're 60% HP, you get 5% adaptive damage. And obviously, this changes with how much health you lose. Now, this is mainly used for tanks and bruisers because they can lose health and still be completely fine. This is not really used too much on AD carries. Yes, you do drop on low on health sometimes, but the problem is when you drop low on health as an AD carry, you're most likely going to die anyway, because when you're below 60% health, or when you're reached that maximum cap of being at 30% health, probably one more auto attack or a few more auto attacks or one more ability and you'll be dead anyway. So you're never really going to get the effect of Last Stand. The difference is with tanks and also bruisers is even if they drop to 60% health or even 30% health, they're still going to have a lot of base health anyway. So it means that they can still deal damage and also stay alive for a long amount of time to be able to make full benefit of this Last Stand rune. So I think it's going to be very good for bruisers and tanks for the Precision tree. And then for some reason we have the legend runes afterwards, which again, it's in some really weird order. Legend Alacrity is another precision rune. You gain attack speed when engaging in taking down monsters, enemy champions, and minions up to a maximum of 20 stacks. The big thing is that we don't know is the stats in terms of, with these legend runes, in terms of stats with how many stacks do we get when we take down monsters, when we take down champions, when we take down minions. Now, if it's the same as PC League, we'll probably get 1 stack for champions, and then we'll have to take out like quite a few minions and monsters to be able to reach a percentage for bonus attack speed. Now, I think this is going to be really good for early game. I think gaining 3% bonus attack speed in the early game is going to be really nice for early game champions, whether it's ADCs or whether it's, you know, Baron laners or even junglers. I think this can also be really good for junglers because not only are you getting attack speeds to clear the jungle quicker in the early game, but you're also going to be getting like, stacking attack speed over time. So I think this will be really good for like melee junglers and want to clear the jungle as quick as possible. So really nice rune. I think will definitely bring some two faces into the mix. Legend Tenacity. This is the Tenacity rune, which is going to be pretty big. Gaining tenacity and slow resistance at the start of the game, and then up to 15% tenacity and 20% slow resist. Again, it says when engaging in champion takedowns, monsters, enemy and minions. So again, it doesn't give you any description in terms of how many stacks you get. So all these legend runes you can scale up when taking down minions, champions, or monsters, but again, it doesn't actually give you the amount that you have to get. So it's something we'll have to test in game. Legend Bloodline. This is the Omnivamp. Now this is pretty big that this is Omnivamp and not just physical vamp. In PC League, this is physical vamp. In Wild Rift, this is going to be Omnivamp. So this means true damage. This means magical damage. This also means physical damage. So this is going to be all the healing resources that you can get, you're going to get healing from, which means that Bloodline is actually going to probably be used on some AP mages. I'm thinking of someone like Swain, for example, that already has a lot of Omnivamp, but also benefits a lot from Omnivamp. Someone maybe like Kennen can also be pretty good with this, especially with her ultimate. There's so many different champions that you can use this Omnivamp on. So again, keep an eye on my website to see what champions are going to benefit the most from Bloodline. So gaining 1% Omnivamp at the start of the game, which is not too much, but you gain up to 7% Omnivamp again when engaging in monster takedowns, champion takedowns, and minion takedowns. I'm actually also curious. It says when engaging in takedowns, does this mean that you have to last hit, or does this mean you just have to be nearby? Very, very interesting. We'll have to see how that works. Maybe you have to, maybe engaging means you have to deal damage to it, but it doesn't actually mean you have to last hit it. So very interested to see how that works. Now, even though this is a legend for Shield Bash, this is not a legend because again, it doesn't have the same description as this. Shield Bash is not a legend rune. Shield Bash is actually for the domination tree, which is a little bit different to PC League, because PC League, this gives you defensive stats and also offensive stats, but in in Wild Rift, it's only going to be offensive. So after gaining a shield or a heal, the next attack against the enemy will be enforced and deal bonus 5 to 30 damage, plus 20% of your attack damage, and plus 10% adaptive ability power. And it has a 7-second cooldown. Not too sure how this adaptive ability power works, because you're going to be getting ability power anyway if it's adaptive, but I'm guessing this means if you build ability power, then this rune is going to scale more. I'm guessing that's what this means, because it says plus 10% adaptability power. So my guess is if you don't have any ability power in your build, then you're not going to get this extra 10% damage on Shield Bash. If you do, then 10% of that ability power will then be, you know, extra damage for Shield Bash. That's my opinion. 7-second cooldown, which by the way is a very, very long cooldown. I don't think this is actually going to work with AD carries. I was thinking, you know, you could run Shield Bash if you have like an enchanted support by your side, someone like a Soraka, a Janna, or someone like that. But I don't think that there'll be a case where this will be good for AD carries, because I think 7-second cooldown is way too long. You don't get that much damage anyway. I don't think the damage is really worthwhile. So this would be really good for champions like Camille. I think Camille is going to use Shield Bash the best out of anyone, because this is after gaining a heal or shield. So this should work on Camille's passive and will be really, really big for her during laning phase, during the later stages of the game, to just give her a lot more damage. Mark of the Week, another new domination rune. This is a completely new rune that has not been released on PC League before, which I'm very excited about. So this is using abilities to deal damage to enemies will mark them as weak, increasing damage taken by them by 4 to 7%. The mark disappears after they take ability damage 3 times or after 7 seconds have passed. Now this is kind of similar to the way Press the Attack works, PTA works on PC League of Legends, where you can mark a champion as weak when you're dealing that was auto attack damage, but this is to do with abilities. So this is only really going to be good for kind of AP mages, but I think this is actually going to be good on a lot of AP mages, especially like assassins as well. You know, someone like Evelyn can still work with a cheap shot, which I'll talk about a little bit later on, but can also work really well with Mark the Weak. So when you use an ability on a champion, if you charm them as well with your second ability with Evelyn, the next abilities, the next, you know, 3 abilities are going to deal more damage. That means the enemy is going to drop lower and lower on health, which means that you can get into range to use your ultimate and destroy them. I think this could be used on a lot of other AP mages. You know, someone like Oriana, this can also work really well on because you can spam your abilities a lot. There's so many different champions that you can use Mark of the Week on because it has that flexibility. You can maybe even try doing it on AD carries. I'm curious for like AD carries, for example. It says using abilities to deal damage to enemies will mark them as weak. So I wonder if, for example, like Caitlyn, if she lands her Q, then can she just auto attack over and over again for 7 seconds to the same target? Might be quite interesting. Might be worth testing out because it just says the mark disappears after they take ability damage 3 times. So this is not auto attack damage. So you could do something cool where you like land your Q on Caitlyn, mark them as weak, and just auto attack them over and over again. And you're going to be dealing that extra damage for the next 7 seconds. A cool little interaction that might work. We'll have to see how that works. Empowered attack, another new rune coming to Wild Rift that's not been on PC League before. I don't think this is too exciting. Every 10 seconds, the next attack will be reinforced, dealing 35 to 50 bonus adaptive damage. Now, this number has changed since the PBE. I think this was like 5 to 50. So I think this gives you a lot more early game power. But again, there's no way you're taking this rune because this rune is just really, really bad compared to, I think it's in the same tree as Mark the Weak and also Cheap Shot. So I think it's a lot better to go something like Mark the Weak or Cheap Shot instead of Empowered Attack, because every 10 seconds you're only getting 35 to 50, and it's also adaptive damage, which can also be reduced by like armor or MR. I don't like this at all. I don't think this rune is going to be very powerful at all, and I think this is going to need quite a few buffs to get to a stage where it's actually going to be powerful. Cheap Shot deals true damage to enemies whose movement is impaired, has a 7-second cooldown. Champions really work well with this, like Ari using her charm, which means that she's going to be able to deal true damage to that champion when she's auto-attacking and using abilities afterwards. Most important thing as it is, it just says true damage. So it just says deals bonus true damage to enemies' movement, to enemies whose movement is impaired. So I believe for someone like Ari, for her charm, that whole duration of the Ari charm is when they're going to be taking bonus true damage. So from your abilities, from your auto attacks, I'm guessing any source of damage. That's kind of what it makes sense. But also there might be a really cool interaction with Ashe, because Ashe's auto attacks impair. If you know what a pair is, it's basically any sort of ability that slows the movement or basically impairs the movement. So any sort of slows, roots, stuns, anything like that. So champions like Ashe can also work really well with Cheap Shot, because your auto attacks impair the movement, which means you'll be able to deal true damage. Morgana binding, Lux binding, things like that I think will be very, very big for them champions. So yeah, Cheap Shot, pretty cool domination rune. I think it's gonna be very, very powerful. Eyeball Collector, a lot of people were confused about this rune, especially when it got announced on PBE and all the stuff, all the translation and everything, but we have the official note here, which kind of makes more sense. So you gain 0.5 attack damage or ability power when an enemy is taken down. So I'm curious now, if it just says when an enemy is taken down, I wonder if this is to do with your team. Like if your team, someone on the opposite side of the map gets a takedown, that will count as a stack towards your Eyeball Collector. I'm very, very curious to how that works, because this doesn't say when you get a takedown, because normally it says when you get a takedown or when you engage an attack. This is just when an enemy is taken down. So this might actually make Eyeball Collector really, really good, because all your team needs is you need up to 10 stacks, which is basically 10 kills, and you gain a bonus 10 attack damage or 20 ability power, stacking up to 10 times when reaching 10 stacks. So you get, sorry, I've read this wrong. Sorry. So you get up to 10 stacks, for your 0.5 AD or ability power. So you can get 5 AD or 5 ability power from stacking this up 10 times, which is 10 kills. And then when you get up to 10 kills, you also get an additional 10 attack damage or 20 ability power. So this means overall you can get 15 attack damage or 25 ability power from this rune. Again, it's very, very interesting that the official notes are actually saying when an enemy is taken down. So I think they've actually changed this from the PBE, because in the PBE it was when you get a takedown, but now it says when an enemy is taken down. So I think that's anyone on your team. Whenever anyone gets a takedown, boom, you get a stack, which I think is going to be very, very powerful, because as people know, Wild Rift is a very, very fast game, and there's so many team fights and so many takedowns happening. So I think it's going to be very, very powerful. Ingenious Hunter, 20% item ability haste. You gain a bonus 4 item ability haste when an enemy is taken down. It can stack up to 5 times. I don't think it's going to be very good at all. I can't really think of any items that could really benefit from this a lot. There's items like Shield Bow, Guardian Angel, Sterox Gauge, but I don't think it's worth, because this is in the same category as Eyeball Collector and also Zombie Ward. So I don't think you want to take item ability haste instead of getting AD and ability power from getting takedowns or from taking down wards. So I don't think Ingenious Hunter is going to be that great, but maybe there will be some cool unique effects. I wonder if this 20 item ability haste also works on Boots Enchantments. That'd be quite interesting. Zombie Ward, another domination rune. Again, this description has changed from the PBE. After removing an enemy ward, which probably means you have to last hit the wards, which might be quite tricky at times, it spawns a zombie ward in its place. Grant a vision of the surrounding area for 120 seconds. Also gaining 2 attack damage out or 4 ability power. Oh, excuse me. This is going to be a long video to walk through. Also gains 2 attack damage or 4 ability power. So this is going to be adaptive whether you're building AD or AP. And this can stack up to 5 times. So that means you can get 10 attack damage or 20 ability power when you kill 5 wards. So all you have to do is kill 5 wards and you're getting 2 AD or 4 ability power every single time you kill a ward. So all you need to do is take down 5 wards, which is going to be very, very easy for supports and also junglers. But also it gives you a bonus 10 attack damage or 20 ability power upon reaching 5 stacks. So again, this is huge because this is going to give you 20 AD or 40 ability power. So again, them junglers that are going to be roaming around with the I forgot what the word is called, with the sweeping lens. That's the one, the sweeping lens. The instead of going for the yellow trinket, you can go for the sweeping lens trinket instead. Try and go around and kill the wards and get the zombie wards down. That means you're going to be getting stacks and stacks and stacks, and you're going to be getting more AD and more ability power. So I think this is going to be a lot easier to stack than Eyeball Collector, and also gives you more damage in total. So I think this is going to be really, really big again for junglers and also supports. New rune, Courage of the Colossus. This is in the resolve tree. So you gain a shield that absorbs up to 25 to 45 damage plus 1% of your maximum health for 3 seconds when immobilizing an enemy champion. 10-second cooldown is quite a long cooldown, but I think this is going to be very, very strong for any sort of champion that any sort of tank that has any immobilizing effects. Engage supports in general, champions like Rakan, Nautilus, Thresh support, I think this is going to work very well on, but also some Baron laners, because this can work really well on. Champions like Ornn can also be pretty good. Trying to think of other champions that can immobilize in the Baron lane. Maybe someone like Pantheon can also take this rune to get a little bit of a shield. Your maximum health is not going to be that great, but I think the only world champion that I can think of in the top lane is Ornn. But again, Ornn, you have to make sure you land your ultimate or your third ability, which can be a little bit difficult to hit. But I think mainly this is going to be used for supports and engage supports down in the bot lane. Revitalize, you gain amplification. You gain a 5% amplification effect when casting heal or shield. So this is going to make healing and shielding more powerful. If the target's health is lower than 40%, amplifies its effects by an additional 10%. Now, it says when casting heal or shield. So I don't think this is going to work on champions that have like lifesteal, for example. I think, you know, someone like Samira that likes to build a lot of physical vamp. Sometimes this might work with Revitalize to give you more physical vamps, but I don't think that's going to be how it works, because it says after casting a heal or shield. So this mainly means like a Janna shield cast, the Lulu shield cast, the summon a heal cast, you know, after casting a heal or shield. So not passive effect from healing like physical vamp, it's just going to be a casting. So again, as I just mentioned, Lulu, Janna are going to be insane with this. Sona, Soraka, any sort of support, any sort of enchant support, Yumi as well, that loves to go with this sort of you know, being able to heal and shield. It's going to be a great addition for enchanter support, so make them even more powerful than what they are. Another new rune, Overgrowth. Again, another rune that has changed from PBE. The numbers have changed. On PBE, I believe it was once you take down 7 monsters and 7 minions, you gain like a few maximum, a little bit of maximum health. There's a little bit more than this. But now it's a little bit different. Now it's going to have a little bit more quicker scaling in the early game. So when you take down 1 monster or 2 minions, yes, 1 monster, that's all you have to take down, you gain 2 permanent maximum health, and maximum health can be increased indefinitely. So you could just keep stacking this over and over and over and over again. Like, it doesn't matter. There's no maximum cap, you know, with like Zombie Ward and Eyeball Collector, there's a maximum cap. With Overgrowth, there is no maximum cap. The longer you go into the late game, the more monsters and minions you're going to take down, the more maximum health you're going to get. However, there is also another effect which you're able to gain a bonus 3.5% maximum health upon reaching 30 stacks. So that is 30 monsters and 60 minions. 30 monsters, I'm just trying to count off the top of my head. I don't think you can get, so you got like what? So the Krugs is 1 big Krug, 3 medium Krugs, 1, 2, 3. You got red buff, you got raptors, which is 3 small raptors and 1 big raptor. You then have wolves, which is 3, 1, 2, 3. You then have the grump, and you have the blue buff. So you roughly get like 15 into, wow, that's actually crazy. You get like 15 minion takedowns with 1 jungle clear. So you have to clear the jungle. Can't think off the top of my head. So you have to clear the jungle 15, 30, 45, 60 4 times. So once you clear the jungle through 4 times, or once you just reach, you know, 16 monster, actually no, sorry, it's 30. Sorry, this is minions. Sorry, my bad. So all you have to do is clear through the jungle twice, or just over 2 times, and that means you get that bonus 3.5% maximum health. So this is going to be insane. I think tank junglers are going to benefit from this a lot, but also bruiser junglers I think are going to benefit from this, because there's, you know, it's so easy to clear through the jungle in Wild Rift, and being able to just only kill 30 monsters to be able to get 3.5% maximum health is absolutely big. But obviously minions, you need 60 minions. There's roughly about 5 minions per wave. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, so it's like 12 waves of minions to get the 3.5% maximum health. So you're not going to get that much value from using this during the laning phase. But again, jungle, this is going to be absolutely insane. You're just going to get free amount of maximum health every single time, which is going to be great. Hextech Flash Traption. The Hex Flash is going to be absolutely huge in this game. Supports like Alistar, Rakan, Thresh, you know, that Hex Flash being able to replace Flash when it's on cooldown is going to be pretty big. Now, a lot of people are asking me, maybe you can use this for AD carries. No, you do not want to use this on AD carries. So this replaces Hex Flash when Flash is on cooldown. You can blink into a new location after channeling for 1.5 seconds. That's the big part. You have to channel for 1.5 seconds. That means you're going to be standing still for 1.5 seconds. So even though you can use this as a little dash away for an AD carry, you're going to be standing still as an AD carry for 1.5 seconds, which is not a great thing. So again, this is mainly used for engages, you know, engage supports like Thresh, Alistar, Rakan, champions like that are going to be absolutely insane. 20% cooldown reduction. 20 second cooldown as well for this Hex Flash. But again, pretty big, allows for a lot more playmaker potential, allows you to just use Flash in the early game if you want to try and make a play. And if the enemy uses Flash, you still have Hex Flash to make another play, and they don't have Flash. So that's going to be very, very cool, very, very interesting. Item crafting. Sorry, this is inspiration. This is resolve. So we're moving on to another inspiration one, which is item crafting. I'm curious to see how this works. I'm not too sure if it's going to be too great. But you gain a chance to buy 1 item outside the fountain every 3 minutes, but it will cost 150 bonus gold. I think this is going to actually be pretty good for champions that don't have any mana and don't rely on mana as much. Champions that I can think of are like Akali, for example. They could just use energy, or someone like Lee Sin, because they don't need to go back to base to regenerate mana or anything, or to get mana back. They could just stay on the field, heal up with your HP through the honey fruit, and just stay on the map for as long as possible. And then you can just keep buying items over and over again and stay on the map. This can actually be really, really good for junglers, because if you do your full jungle clear, maybe you could build like Black Cleaver and not have to go back to base. Again, someone like Lee Sin is a great example. I'm not too sure. I think this rune is definitely going to be a big hit and miss with Futures Market, because this combo with Futures Market plus item crafting can be either very, very broken or completely bloody useless. So let's see how this works. Item crafting, still pretty cool, still a unique way to play the game. Coup de grace, that is how you say it, by the way, coup de grace. So you ignore the P and you ignore the grace at the end. It's not coup de grace, it's coup de grace. That's how you pronounce this rune. So this is basically the second part of Triumph that's currently in the game. They're basically making it its own separate rune. So when an enemy has less than 40% health, you deal 7% bonus adaptive damage. This is great for AD carries, great for any assassins, AD carries that want to deal more damage to enemies that are low on health. An absolutely insane rune, as I mentioned, for assassins as well, because the assassins can deal more damage to low health enemies, but also AD carries are going to do more damage to low health enemies. So really, really insane. Really, really love this rune, and I think it's going to be absolutely great for the game to add coup de grace as a rune in. Futures market, as I mentioned, it's going to be kind of similar to item crafting, where it's going to be kind of a big hit or miss. You can purchase items on credit, which means you could basically go into debt. So the credit limit is 145 plus 7 minutes. Credit purchases is available after 2 minutes in the game. So does this mean you can... Oh, wait, okay, sorry. I think this is 145 and then it goes up by 7 every minute. Okay, that makes sense. So this is 145 plus 7 per minute. I guess that's what this is. I thought this means like plus 7 minutes, but a slash here means it's like 7 per minute, basically. I think that's what it means. Again, gonna be very hit or miss. Might be able to build your item before someone else. Because if you're thinking like 5 minutes into the game, it's gonna be what? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, like 35, so an extra 35 on top of this 145, which is going to be like 100. It's only 180 gold. Like, it's not that much. 180 gold is like 1.5 waves, 1 wave full of minions, like an extra wave full of minions, which I guess can be quite interesting because you can go back and you can build an item before someone else, and you can complete an item before someone else. But I don't think it's going to be that great. Again, another hit or miss rune with item crafting, and this is inspiration as well. Coup de grace is precision. Nullifying orb is it says new, but it's actually just been adjusted. A big thing about nullifying orb now is it doesn't scale with your bonus attack damage and your ability power. It now has a flat amount from 60 up to 190. Now you kind of need to work out in your heads, like, you know, how this is actually going to work. If you work out, you know, in terms of AD carry items in general, items like Infinity Edge gives you 55, Shield Bow gives you 40, that's 95. Phantom Dancer gives you 20, that's 115, and you can just keep adding up. You know, you can add like another 50 to that if you want to, or maybe another 100. Say we add another 100 to that, and it's 225. So 225, 50% of 225 or bonus damage is going to be roughly around 100 and 110 or something. So that means when we're at full build, we're only getting 170 shield. So now it goes up to 190 shield, which, by the way, I think 220 is also way over the 50% bonus attack damage you'll be getting, because there's no way you're building 3 items that give you more than 50 AD. But that's just an example. So that will give you 170 shield, but now you can go up to 190 shield. So this is actually technically a buffer nullifying orb, and actually it's pretty nice to also build on potentially, you know, tanks and bruisers that didn't really want to build a lot of attack damage or ability power, and now this having just a base number means it's a lot more viable on some other champions. So very, very cool change for nullifying orb. This is going to be in the resolve tree. Will it be chosen? Not too sure. We'll have to wait and find out. Fun to life, we saw this change on the first look. Because this is going into a minor rune, the team heal and also the self heal is being reduced, which is totally fair because it's going down. Even though this is overheal, this is meant to be Triumph. I don't know why it says overheal. Don't ask me, ask Riot. They're the ones who sent me these notes. Old is after participating in the defeat of an enemy champion, you normally restore 10% of your lost health and deal more damage. This was the old Triumph, but now it's new. So after participating, in the defeat of an enemy champion, so that just means like a takedown, basically, you restore 10% of your lost health and 10% of your maximum mana or energy. This is the big part, that you'll be able to restore energy and also mana. So this Triumph is still going to be very, very good on bruisers and also potentially some tanks, because restoring 10% of your lost health is very, very nice. But also now being able to restore mana and energy is also really, really big. This could also mean this could work on, champions like a Kali. If you get a takedown with a Kali, it means your energy is going to get restored, and also it means you're going to get more time to use more abilities, because sometimes you run out of energy with a Kali. Champions like that, I think this is going to be really, really big rune for any sort of bruisers there. There's a lot to go through, by the way. Items, Dust Blades. We saw this change in the first look. Basically, they're removing the unseen being unseen, and now the damage is now just basically when you first use a basic attack. So when you first use a basic attack, you deal bonus damage and you slow, which is the same bonus damage and also the same slow percentage. But now you don't need to be unseen. So this could be used now on champions like potentially Jace, but I still think it'd be very strong on assassins. Deep breath. Ancient coins, support items. So support item adjustments. They're adding a new support item. They're adjusting the support items. A lot's been changed with support items in this patch. Ancient coin. Now this is a more passive version of the support items compared to Spectral Sickle and also Relic Shield. Now with Relic Shield and Spectral Sickle, you have to actually do something to stack up the support item, whether it be Relic Shield, last hitting minions, or whether it be Spectral Sickle, trying to poke down enemy champions. Ancient coin is different. All you have to do is be nearby an enemy minion being defeated, and that will gain you a stack. You do not have to do anything to minions, anything to champions. You could just stand there AFK and you could just keep on building up, which I think is actually going to be really, really good on enchanter supports, especially more passive enchanter supports. I still think Relic Shield is going to be pretty big, but the ability haste that you get from Ancient Coin, I think is going to help the enchanter supports out quite a lot. But as you can see here, 80 HP, 5 ability haste, which as you compare, if you compare it to like Sickle, for example, they all cost the same gold. Relic Shield gives you 125 health. So you're basically losing like 45 health, but you're gaining 5 ability haste for it. And obviously Spectral Sickle still has the 10 attack damage or 20 ability power. So Ancient Coin, the passive, what does it do? So you charge once charge once per 30 seconds. Again, the same with all of them. Passive has not changed. So every minion nearby takedown will grant 55 gold by consuming 1 charge and regenerate a little bit of health. Champions equipped with Ancient Coin do not engage in minion bounty allocation and grant 50% of the bounty solely. The bounty from minions takedowns will be fully provided to the nearest ally, grant only 50% gold for monsters. Again, this means that you can basically just sit there AFK in a lane, and as long as your ADC last hits minions and pushes the wave, and as long as you're standing near an ally champion, you're going to be able to stack Ancient Coin. Interesting how it says grants only 50% of gold from monsters, because they're probably scared that you can like double jungle with this. You can just go Ancient Coin, double jungle, and then actually I'm surprised it even works on monsters in general. This might be kind of scary, because I think that Ancient Coin, if you do like a double jungle strategy and you could just stack the support item by standing near an ally champion and just farming through the jungle with like Lulu Master Yi, for example, or Lulu Kale, might be kind of scary. But getting 50% less gold, less gold is pretty big. It means it takes longer for the support items to stack. But yeah, very, very cool that they've given you another alternative now with Ancient Coin. I think this will be very, very cool. And the quest is transformed to the Talisman of Ascension, which we'll get into later on, after granting 500 gold. And the big thing is now with these quests is that you only need 500 gold to fully upgrade your support items. There's no middle ground anymore. You just go from Ancient Coin up to Talisman. You go from Spectral Sickle up to Black Mist. You go from Relic Shield up to Bulwark. They've completely removed, as you can see, the Harrowing Quest and the Targon's Buckler, which is the one just below. So it's like, instead of 3 stages, there's now only 2 stages for support items. But there's a bit of compensation for that, which I'll get to later on. Spectral Sickle, pretty much staying the same. The only big thing about Spectral Sickle now is that you can also regenerate health when you get a consume, which I think could be pretty big for some champions. Champions like Senna can use this very, very well. She can already poke very, very well during the laning phase, and also her first ability heals her, but also you'll be able to get healing from Spectral Sickle at the same time now from poking. And this will make Spectral Sickle more viable. The reason why Relic Shield is so much more powerful than Spectral Sickle was because of that healing, and because it's a lot safer to farm Relic Shield, because all you have to do is last hit minions. You don't have to walk up and try and trade against enemy champions. But now with Spectral Sickle being able to heal every time you get a stack, I think it's going to be pretty big. Again, transforms into Black Mist when granting 500 gold. And then Relic Shield, as far as I'm aware, has not changed at all. The healing is still there. The execution threshold stayed the exact same. Again, it's pretty much stayed the exact same as before. And again, you can upgrade it into Bulwark. Now, this is the interesting part. These are the fully upgraded versions of support items, which you get when you only get 500 gold. You don't need 1,000 gold anymore. You only need 500 gold. So you have Talisman, you have Black Mist, and you have Bulwark from Ancient Coin, Spectral Sickle, and Relic Shield. So Talisman of Ascension, you get 125 health and 15, it says skill haste, but this basically means ability haste. You got 75 gold per every, 75 gold every 60 seconds, which is the same with every single one. And you also grant 1 point of spirit power, which has a maximum of 10. Now you're probably wondering, what's spirit power? All the support upgrades all have spirit power. Every point of spirit power provides 25 health, 2 attack damage, or 4 ability power adaptive. That means when you get to a maximum of 10 stacks, you get 250 health, and or 20 attack damage, or and 20 attack damage, or 40 ability power. So every 60 seconds you get 1 point of spirit power. But the big thing is now is that you fully upgrade these support items. You get the Talisman, Black Mist, and Bulwark about 5 minutes in the game now. Before it would be like 10 minutes in the game. Now you actually get it 5 minutes in the game, because all you need is 500 gold, which means that you're going to be getting these maximum stacks, these maximum 10 stacks. All you need is 10 minutes. So you're going to be getting these maximum stacks about 14-15 minutes into the game, which means at 14-15 minutes you're going to get 250 health, obviously adding up over time, 20 attack damage, or 40 ability power. And this is the same on every single support item. So no more Boots Enchantments being reduced in cooldown, nothing like that. It's all just going to be the same Boots upgrade. So now the only difference is do you want 125 health and 15 ability haste? Do you want more attack damage or ability power and ability haste? Or do you want 175 health with some more ability haste? So you're only actually getting 5 more ability haste here from Talisman, but you're also losing quite a bit of health. But again, Talisman is probably going to be easier to stack than Relic Shield. But also Relic Shield gives you, lane pushing power, allows you to stack it. The one downside of Talisman is you can't actually decide what stacks you're going to be getting. Now, what you can do with Relic Shield is you can wait and stack it on the cannon minions, so the bigger minions, which means you're going to be getting more gold, which means you're going to be able to stack the support item and get the support item to the full support item point a lot quicker. The problem about Talisman is that you don't actually have that choice, because you have to rely on your AD carry auto attacking beside you. So if the AD carry, for example, kills the 2 range minions first, and that's your 2 stacks of Talisman, that's the gold that you're getting. So you're actually going to be losing out of gold with Talisman. Even though it's easier to stack because you don't need to last here, it is going to be kind of challenging, I think, to actually... I still think it's going to be the quickest to go for Relic Shield. I still think Relic Shield is going to be the go-to, because you can actually decide on what minions you want to last here. You get pushing power, you get lane priority, you still get the healing. So I still think the Relic Shield is going to be the go-to. Or maybe Spectral Sickle might be pretty good now because you get the healing. We'll have to wait and see. So that's everything with support items. We are nowhere near done yet, though, because next we have all the new boots. And I think after that, we're done. Yeah, a few system changes and then we're done. So the last thing we have to go through is the boots and the boots enhancements, or the boots adjustments, I should say. This patch, we're also going to be making adjustments to all the boots and their build paths and prices to ensure that they are providing enough support during the early fights that may break out. We are also adding new boots that better suit mages, marksmen, and assassins, which will be since there were not very good options for them. Also removing protect enchant, we'll get to that point, and adding revitalize, which we'll get to that point later on. All right, first up is boots. Now, this is going to be a very, very interesting change for Wild Rifts. We have not had this sort of boots overhaul for a very, very long time. And basically what this is going to do is this is going to make boots a lot more powerful, but also a lot more expensive. But honestly, some of these boots, I can see champions and players going for boots as second item, sometimes even first item. And that's definitely going to be the case with these first boots that we have here, Boots of Mana. So as you can see now, every single boot still costs 400 gold. But now you need to buy an extra amplifying tome, longsword, ruby crystal, longsword. You have to buy an extra tier 1 item and also pay an extra 500 gold to get to 1,400 or 1,500 or even 1,350 gold. But now the stats are going to be a lot more powerful. For example, Boots of Mana, I think is going to be by far the most broken boots in the game. 60 ability power. Yes, you read that right. 60 ability power, 200% mana regen, which is like basically mana restore, 8 flat magic pen, and you still have the 45 movement speed. All of that for just 1,400 gold. You compare this to Nishi Large Rod, which is 1,400 gold. I can't remember how much AP you get off the top of your head, but I think it's around 60 ability power for Nishi Large Rod. What's the point of buying Nishi Large Rod when you could just buy Boots of Mana? You get the attacks, you get the AP, you get the mana restore, and also you get the mana regen. These boots are going to be absolutely incredible for AP assassins and also AP mages. This is going to be the go-to new boots for AP assassins and AP mages. Boots of Outburst. This is the armor penetration option. Boots longsword plus 600 gold, 1,500. So you're going to be doing 8 armor penetration, 30 attack damage, and 45 movement speed. So this could be really, really good on AD assassins, champions like Kayn, Kha'Zix, Rengar, any sort of them AD assassins that are going to benefit a lot from that flat armor penetration and also the attack damage. But also these are the most expensive boots, so they're kind of a little bit worried, I guess, about this in a way, because this might make AD assassins even stronger than before. Berserk agrees. This is the one that I'm really, really excited about. There's a new ADC runes. You got the build path, which is Boots of Speed, Longsword, plus 500 gold, which could be 1,400 gold. But look at this, 15 attack damage, 30% attack speed, and 45 movement speed. So this could be really, really good on pretty much any AD carry that loves attack speed. It's going to be absolutely incredible boots. Again, 1,400 gold is cheaper than BF sword, so you can just go for boots instead of buying a BF sword if you really want to. But it's gonna be absolutely insane. You know, attack speed, movement speed, attack damage, all great stats for AD carries. This is gonna be, I'm really excited to try out these boots when they come out. Ionian Boots of Lucidity build pass. You got Boots of Speed, a Ruby Crystal, plus 500 gold. So this item gives you ability haste, little bit of maximum health, and also movement speed, and also reduces the 15% of your ability cooldown. Is that supposed to be ability cooldown? Isn't this supposed to be summoner spell? I'm not too sure if this is actually ability cooldown or summoner spell. Maybe they've changed it. Maybe Boots of Lucidity is actually going to be good if this is actually correct, because you already have 30 ability haste, but if this reduces all abilities cooldowns by 15%, wow, this is actually going to be really, really huge. I thought this was just going to be 15% of your summoner spells, because that's what Ionian Boots of Lucidity already does. But if it's reducing 50% of your ability cooldown, plus you get the extra ability haste, okay. I mean, I think these boots are still going to be strong, but I think these boots are going to be very, very strong on enchanter supports or anything like that. I think it's going to be really, really good. All right, now to the defensive boots. Now, there has to be a thing I have to mention about the defensive boots. The really, really big thing about the defensive boots that people were worried about is that you don't get the tenacity anymore. But it does look like on these patch notes that we are still getting the tenacity. We are still getting the reduced attack damage. I think with Chose's video, there was a problem with the translation. I think there's a really big problem with the translation, because as you can see here, Mercury Treads and Plated Steel Caps both don't have new passives. They don't have the 15% magic reduction, 15% attack damage reduction. They still have the same passive because nothing has changed. So Mercury Treads will probably still give you tenacity, and Plated Steel Caps will probably still give you the reduced auto attack damage reduction. But either way, these are pretty good. These are pretty cheap boots. You have to buy it with the Ruby Crystal. They give you a lot of maximum, magic resistance. They also give you health regen, a little bit of maximum health, and also the movement speed. This would just be really, really good on tanks and bruisers in general that don't really want to benefit a lot from, you know, attack speed or berserker greaves or, you know, anything like that. They don't really benefit from any of the other boots. These are just really good alternatives as defensive boots if you want to go for that. And Guidance Greaves obviously needed to be changed as well, because these are the Omnivamp boots. So the Omnivamp boots is now giving you 30 attack damage and also keeping ability power, movement speed, sorry, with you building from Longsword. But that doesn't mean that Boots of Thora has been removed. I think it's okay. I mean, Boots of Furrow wasn't really that good anyway. The only champion that really used Boots of Furrow was like Jin. Sometimes use it on some AD carries to get a bit of extra movement speed, but I think this is fine. I think all of these boots are going to give you a huge amount of power now with how cheap they are. And like I said, I think for some champions and some players, you can go for something like Boots of Mana as your first item, because the stats of this item are disgusting, like absolutely disgusting. Like 200% mana restore is going to be insane for laning phase. You know, you add this on top of Luden's Echo, I'm very worried, very worried. Boots Enchant, they have removed the Protect Enchant from the game. They are replacing it with Revitalizing Grail. But before then, let's take a look at Magnetron. We saw this a little bit with the PBE. The cast distance has been reduced from 6 up to 10. Which is quite big. And the big thing is now is that you can now cast this on minions and also monsters. So you can still cast this on champions, it seems like, if you want to, but they've added a new thing where you can cast this to minions and monsters. This could be kind of cool in a way. It could be kind of unique where you could use this as sort of a defensive tool where you can dash away to safety if you're getting ganked towards your minions, or you can dash towards enemy minions, sorry, and use that to your advantage. You know, I could see a really cool play where you're playing someone like, I don't know, Camille, for example, and say the enemy champion's already used Flash. You could use Magnetron to just quickly jump on an enemy minion, get into auto attack range for Camille, use your ultimate, and then be able to just solo kill. You know, there could be some really cool effects with Magnetron this patch. Do I think it's better than other things? Probably not. Other Boots Enchants? Probably not. But I think it's kind of nice that this has changed. Locket Enchant, this is huge. Like, this is such a big change. So the shield type going back to normal shield and now not being magic damage is like something's like falling from heaven for me, because I hated that Locket was only a magic shield. This was only used in like 1 out of 1,000 games where you're against like a Ziggs or a Kennen or something where it's going to be full benefit. But now with it being a normal shield, yes, the base shield had to go lower, which I think is totally fair enough. But Locket Enchant now being a normal shield is going to be absolutely huge. Like, this is going to be massive, absolutely massive. And the one thing is though, is that what we saw in PBE is that Locket Enchant can also shield yourself. I wonder if they've just removed that entirely, because I think shielding yourself would have been really broken. But I wonder, because that's not in these patch notes. So maybe it's still going to be just nearby allies and not yourself, which means it's going to be still really strong on like supports, for example. Protobelt Enchant being reduced to 500 gold is pretty insane. They have reduced the damage. It's now 70 damage at all ranks instead of 75 to 145. Additional missiles is also fixed to 7, and the dash speed has been increased to 20. So now they want Protobelt to be more of a playmaking enchant rather than a damage enchant in a way, because I think reducing the gold of Protobelt is really big. I think this can be used on a lot of great supports. Again, I'm thinking of, you know, Thresh, Rakan, Alistar. You know, Protobelt is already a great enchant, and not only that, you have Hex Flash plus Protobelt enchant, which I think is going to be absolutely huge, like absolutely crazy for them. So yeah, that'd be pretty interesting. We'll have to see how that goes and how that affects things. But again, it's going to be a lot less used for damage and more used for playmaking potential, which is very exciting. Redeeming Enchant, which is Redemption Enchant, 50% of the cooldown will return if allied champions are not healed. This means you can use this enchant as a sort of vision control if you want to try and get vision at any sort of objectives, or basically if you just miss Redeem Enchant. But I honestly think that Locket Shield is going to be bigger than Redemption Enchant this patch. And then we have the new one, which is Revitalizing Grail. Costs 500 gold, and look at this. The Bless... Oh wait, it's an active... Wait, is this an active? There's 20% effect on healing shields or heal for allied champions. So on the PBE, this was a passive. I wonder if this means that this is, you now have to activate this enchant, or if it's just going to be a passive enchant. Interesting. I'm very curious to see if this is, you have to activate the enchant, or if it's just going to be a passive effect, because on PBE this was a passive effect, which was like basically the passive effect means you just gain a bonus effect on healing and shields on for allied champions. So basically it's just a support option, alternative to protect enchant. So no more protect enchant, and instead you have Revitalizing Grail instead. But if this is an active, maybe it's not going to be as strong as what I thought. Very interesting. We'll have to see how that thing goes. And the last thing is just a few system changes. We know some of these already with the Nexus Shield and also the Scry's Bloom. There are also a few other ones. Time of purchasing enchant in store. So players can now only purchase enchantment items in the store after a certain period of time in the game, which is going to be 6 minutes in Summoner's Rift. This means no more rushing enchant, no more rushing Zhonya's, no more rushing Protect Enchant for Lux. Which obviously Protect Enchant's gone anyway. No more rushing Rejuvenation Enchant, nothing like that. All this sort of Boots item rush is completely gone. This 100% is going to make just first item a lot more powerful. You're just going to go for your tier 2 boots and complete your first item. And then after that, then you're going to be looking for your Boots Enchant after 6 minutes in the game. 6 minutes is just after the first dragon, 2 minutes after the first dragon. Which does mean that you do have a little bit of time afterwards to get a little bit of gold to get your Boots Enchant. But again, I think the pretty big thing is that you're not going to be able to rush your Boots Enchant anymore. You have to kind of wait until 6 minutes. So yeah, pretty big. Again, this means that Stasis Enchant and everything like that can't be rushed. New mechanism of strategic points. Want to make sure that players that games are more fair and ensure that there isn't a team that just gets steamrolled. So implement a new mechanic that will let you let players who are at a disadvantage have a chance to change the game state and bring their team back into it. So this is basically the bounty system. So now they're going to be adding bounties to objectives like towers, maybe major objectives as well. We have to see in the mid game or late game, when one team is at a disadvantage, strategic points will be provided to them, with which they can grant bonus bounty gold if points are seized. The gap is growing larger. The game will trigger a bonus kill bounty. Wow, that's actually pretty big. Teams at a disadvantage will all share a small amount of the bonus by taking down the enemy champion. Wow, that's actually kind of crazy. So they're giving all players a bonus kill bounty if you're like insanely far behind. So this says strategic points will be provided to them. So strategic points means like if you take down towers, and this could also mean major objectives like potentially dragons and also barons. So again, cool new mechanic, kind of a comeback mechanic like PC League in a way, which is kind of nice. Nexus Shield, we saw this in first look, going down from 18 to 16 minutes means just the games will be a little bit quicker. And then again, Scry's Broom, same as what we saw in first look, fixed directions, will immediately die and expand. And that is everything. 1 hour and 6 minutes of the best patch ever in Wild Rift. As I mentioned before, I don't think that you should be surprised that there's not a lot of champion changes here, because there's so many new runes, so many new Boots Enchants, so many new additions to the game that I think the Riot are just going to let the game kind of sit for 2 weeks, see how the meta goes, and then change things in the B patch and so on, A patch, B patch, and so on and so forth. But insanely excited about this patch. I think it's going to be, in my opinion, the best patch ever for Wild Rift. So many cool new things. As always, going to be doing the content on this channel throughout the whole of it. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Remember, there is a giveaway on the video. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment down below what you think of the new patch. And as always, stay safe, and I'll see you for the new update for patch 4.3 very, very soon. Take care. Peace.